What's up guys, it's Weds here with another Lost Ark video, and today we're going to talk about controller and the most essential buttons that you can use in the game. So first of all, there are many controllers you can use to play this game, and some of the best ones are going to be the one with the paddles because they offer you so many buttons to remap and therefore the most ease of use for this game. Throughout the leveling process, while you're going to the campaign and going towards level 50, you'll realize that there are some buttons that are very essential to your gameplay, and you want to place them in the right position. That way you can be more successful when you are playing this game. Now, to show you some of the most essential buttons, let's hit the escape button on the keyboard, or you can also do that with your controller, depends on how you set it up. And then we're gonna go to the settings, and then we're gonna go to the gamepad controls. Now once you are in the combat section, now the first thing you need to notice is the basic attack. Now the basic attack is one that you need to make sure you put it in the one button control. You don't want to bind this with like two buttons, simply because there are times when you are going to be on cooldown and then the basic attack is the only one that you can use to do some damage. I'd say you need to make sure you keep it at the one button option. That way you don't have to worry about pressing two buttons to make this happen. Now the next essential one is the movement stand up. That's the one that you use to dodge, and also when you fall down and you can get up right away. This is this button. You don't want to bind this with two button control. You just make sure you want to keep it as one. That way you know you can use it as often as possible, even though it's on the cooldown. Other than that, in the combat tab, from skill from 1 through 8, this is going to be a personal preference, and however you want to do that, as long as it is comfortable for you, that's what you need to do. And this is where the paddles on some controllers will come very handy, because you want to use them as a one button press. That way you don't have to bind a lot of stuff, and you should be good to go. Now we're gonna go in the last tab, which is other, and then we're gonna talk about some of the essential ones. Once we scroll down the bottom, and the first thing we're gonna tackle is the character profile. You wanna keep this as a one button essential thing, because you wanna pull this up as quick as possible whenever you wanna make some changes to your character, and you don't wanna have to press two buttons just to make this happen. The next essential button is the inventory. This is one that you pull up all the time, so you want to keep this as a one button if you want. But for me personally, I just go with the left trigger and the left on the D-pad. That's good to go. But ideally, you want to keep it as a one button, because this is something that you're going to use all the time. And then the next one is the game menu, which is the escape. Now, naturally, you're in front of a computer and you have a keyboard. Just pressing the escape is good to go, so you should be fine. You don't really have to bind this. But I find it's very easy to just bind it with the right bumper and then the menu button. That makes it easy for me. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. And then we also have the world map. Naturally, that comes like that on the controller, but I'm not really sure. But I changed so many things, I don't remember. But you want to keep it as a one button, because you want to pull up the map as often as possible. And then the mini map is something that a lot of people love to use, but for me personally, I find it very intrusive sometimes. So I just, even if you make it transparent, but I just bind it with the right bumper and then the map button. But it's okay if you want to use it or not. And then the rest of them, like play instrument, emotes, and stuff like that, those are just the ones that you can make them as easy as possible. That's where the paddles is very important. Then you can just quickly bind it with some other button that is comfortable for you, and then you should be good to go, because those are things that you use a lot in the game a lot of the time. If you can pull them as fast as possible, then it makes things a lot easier for you. Now, one important thing that you need to realize is that the developers already create all the buttons in the game the way they want it. The only thing that you are doing, and all you are allowed to do, is just switch them around with the button that is more comfortable for you, because you cannot just reinvent them and say that I'm gonna make this button do this and that, because it's already set up. And you will realize that whenever you're trying to replace one of those setup, another one is going to become empty. Like for instance, if I want to replace this one with the A button, for instance, so I'm going to make sure that I click on that one, and then I'm going to press A on the controller, and then it's going to ask me, hey, you're going to switch the A for this, is that what you want? And then you can say, yeah, man, that's what I want. Or you can just say no, and then you just go about your merry way. So that's the way it works. But once you replace one, another one will become empty and you have to go fill that one up. Now I'm gonna go back quickly to the combat tab and I'm gonna show you everything that I'm using, because somebody has asked me what I'm using and what they do and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna show you. My X is the basic attack, as I talked about, and then the B is gonna be my movement, dodging, and then the skill from 1 to 8, and I just put them however I feel more comfortable, because some of the buttons you have to hold them to just do the action skills. So you know, you just got to place them accordingly, according to the way that it is best comfortable for you. And then with the paddle and everything, I just map them this way. Again, like I said, if you need the basic course on how to set up the controller from the get-go, especially the Xbox controller, just watch my previous video on that and you should be good to go. And then all the guild stuff, you know, it is whatever. A lot of time, you know, if you find a button that is more comfortable for you, you can replace it with some of those. And then if it was in a place that you didn't like and you want to use it for something different, just, you know, just replace them like that. And for your specialty skill, those are the ones that's going to be on a very long cooldown, and then it's going to be dependent upon how fast the meter is filled. And then if it is filled, then that's when you can use it. So, you know, just use a combination that is actually easy for you. For me, for instance, I use the left trigger and Y whenever I want to use it. As you're unlocking all the skills in the game, you will realize some of the setup that came with the game don't make any sense the way they are set up. So you might want to change them. Like for instance, awakening skill, I don't want to press left bumper, left trigger, and then X just to make that happen. So I will definitely change that when I get to it. So I will definitely probably change it with the left trigger plus B, or whatever button is more comfortable for me. So that's one thing that you need to keep in mind. And then for the sailing part, you know, I set it up like that, you know, LB plus X, LB, and etc., because, you know, sailing, you can just do that automatically with certain combination and you don't even have to worry about it. So I just leave it alone, because whenever you're sailing, you can just let go of your keyboard or let go of your controller and let the game do it for you. So I'm not worried about that much. Other than that, guys, that's all there is to it. I just show you some of the most essential one that I believe to be important, like the character profile, the escape menu, the inventory, and all that stuff. And you just have to go and make sure that you use the right button in the right place, and you will have a better time. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys later.